Okay, welcome to our top 8 for photojournalism entries of the year. This is always kind of a experimental-ish category every year. It's the 3rd year I think we've done this, and it's obviously people, when they're out chasing, they're looking more at lightning photography and tornado photos and supercell and all that. So photojournalism is more of a, if storm chasing's niche photography, then photojournalistic storm photography is also kind of is a niche inside a niche. So we don't get tons of entries in this category. But these are the top 8 that we really liked, that all kind of tell a story. And Jennifer is, one thing I loved is Jennifer coming on board last year, really big into the storytelling of photos. So Jennifer, why don't you start us off with maybe like 1 or 2 that you really like?
Sure. Well, I want to thank everyone who entered images into this category, and I want to encourage everyone to continue to think about this category if you can keep it in the back of your mind. There are several images entered in other categories that would have done well in this category. So when you're entering tornadoes or lightning shots and there are people or other elements that tell a story, don't forget about this category, because your images could do quite well in this category. So having said all of that, I think there are some really standout images here, and some that may continue on. It's really hard to pick one to start. Let's go ahead and start with number 3. I think it has some very strong impact in terms of contrast and framing. The tornado is just wow, and obviously it gives us a story of chasing or running away from the tornado. I'm curious about the story of what's going on just underneath that tornado. What direction is it moving? So a good image that helps you ask a lot of questions. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we had quite a few, tornado with people images, obviously, with all of these. I just wanted to highlight this one because I really, really like the framing of the photographer on the left, and it actually almost has like it's a paintered. I was gonna say painterly, and I messed up, but it like a painted look to it, where the color palette or something almost feels a little bit like it's like a really realistic drawing or something. But I like the fact that it's like almost like a beautifully composed shot with the hilltop grass, the person standing on the left shooting a raging, monster tornado in the distance. And this, I think, speaks to me just because, as a storm chaser photographer, this is what we do. And this is, I would love to have one of the photographers that enters all the time, Nina DeMunster. She caught a photo of me years ago with the Tahoka tornado in the background, and I love that photo. I didn't even know she was taking it. I just met her that day, like at that moment after she took it. And having a photo of, yourself doing what you love like this is like kind of priceless.
I love the gray shirt with the dark gray spots and all the gray, the gray tornado. The other thing I think is worth mentioning is that the subject, well, there are 2 subjects, the tornado and the photographer, and they're both in focus. So I love the way the light comes across on the wheat. So there are a lot of really good and interesting things about this image as well.
Yeah. Dennis, what about you?
Let's talk about number 4.
4, okay.
For me, I really like this one because of the perspective. You are standing up a hill, looking down the street. I think it's more of a telephoto lens used in this one. Yeah, I see 130 millimeters, so you have a bit of the compressed feel to it. Unfortunately, the foreground is a bit out of focus in this one if we are talking about technique stuff. But overall, it tells a good story. So there's a raging tornado on the horizon. So obviously, the guy in front stops his car and steps out to watch it. So I don't know if he's a storm chaser or just curious what's happening there. but that's a very storyful scene, in my opinion. So there's just a guy standing in front of a tornado and watching what it does. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's John Serlin who chases.
Okay.
Nice Arizona license plate on there too. So, yeah, I kind of like the focus is interesting, but I kind of like the fact that he's blurry, because when you've got, what did you say, 133 millimeters, like
Yes.
usually with that, you're not going to keep everything in focus. Like, you're so compact, and so it is kind of interesting. You could have either done it where the subject here was in focus or the subject out there was in focus. But I do like that. It tells a story, and that's the whole point of this category. But yeah, so we only had 8, so we're not going to talk about it anymore because we'll have the top 3 finalists. But all of these, I think, tell a story that's really great. These up here, these top 2 that we didn't talk about, they both tell stories in their own right, and we'll see where everybody ends up. But thank you all for entering these, and we will look forward to figuring out who told the best story and who the top 3 are next week.